Good morning, everyone. I just realized that I'm probably part of a unique day in the history of the IF Forum, because I'm the second speaker in a row who came by bike to the IF Forum this morning. So I don't know if that has happened before, but I would like to talk to you about the IF sustainability study, as Marie-Salwa said. Thank you very much for the introduction. I will just take you in a few minutes through the study that we've been conducting since 2008, but just a little bit of context. In the first few years, it was more of an assessment of a tool that we developed together with the Vancouver Organizing Committee. The last 2 years, we looked more into the overall picture of sustainability initiatives, challenges, good success stories, etc. at IFs. So it's that last 2 years that I will be summarizing in the next 5 minutes or so. And it was already mentioned before, but the way we look at sustainability is at large. It's not just the environmental component. We've defined sustainability as the combination, or the balance, I should probably say, of environmental integrity, social equity, and economic efficiency. And what we did is we surveyed federations online, so it was a closed survey online, not through interviews, on 3 different components: strategy, their concrete programs and initiatives, and management and reporting. Who responded to this survey? I saw a few, but I also know that there were a few people here who didn't raise their hand because probably someone else in their organization responded. We had roughly 40 respondents out of a survey of just over 100 people that we conducted. You saw in 2014 and 2015, the responses were more or less the same, where 19 Olympic federations responded, 16 ISU recognized, and 7 other federations. And I can tell you that, like rowing, archery, wrestling, football, ski, I'm just trying to look around more, those were all among the Olympic federations who responded. Volleyball, hockey, so that's a good overview. Now this hasn't come through very well, apologies for that. Just 4 slides to summarize the main findings. We made a report that you can download from our website that has much more details on it, but I'm just given 4 minutes to talk to you a little bit about some of the main results that I think are indeed quite encouraging. The first one being that there is clearly a momentum. When we asked the question, do you have sustainability integrated into your operational strategy, 71% of the federations said yes, we do have it included in our strategy. And then if we ask them, can you give us a concrete example, just a specific example of what you are doing, so that we know it's not just, yes, I tick the box, it's listed in my strategic document. Almost everyone, 95%, could give at least one or more example. I'll give you just one example from wrestling that I thought was worth mentioning to give you an idea. Wrestling told me that, this is a quote, "We run Beat the Streets, which is a community-based movement that provides access for youth to wrestling in order to develop the full human potential of participants." Almost all federations could name one or more of this sort of concrete initiatives. Another question, and obviously we only asked that question this year for the first time because last year it was a bit too early, is what is the role, how important is Olympic Agenda 2020 in this whole domain? And 79% of the federation said it's very important for us because, one, it helps us pushing up the topic on the agenda, and secondly, it gives direction because the topic is so huge. Listening to Marie-Salwa, you can cover so many things with the topic of sustainability, but Agenda 2020 gives clear direction to the topic of sustainability. So that was a very positive one as well. Now, when it comes to staffing, always a challenge, of course, because there is so many other things to do within the organization. Another positive trend. We've been doing this since 2008, And back then, only 11% answered yes to the question, do you have someone appointed in your organization as coordinator, as part of their role? It's usually not a full-time role. It's hardly any, only the bigger organizations. But you have someone, a dedicated person, who has this as part of their job description. That has quadrupled in the past 7 years. I need to do my calculation here. To almost half of the federation who says, yes, we have someone who is in charge. And another thing, only 1 year difference between 2014 and 2015, do you measure actually what you're doing? And in 2014, only 41% says, yes, we do measure regularly our activities. And this percentage had gone up to 62% in 2015. Let me make one comment here. There's a lot of things you say, well, you can also flip it and say there's still 40% not measuring. One of our key objectives with this federation study is that we also push federations who do not do many things, who say, I do not have anything in place. I probably don't even see the advantage. I don't see the need of it. We ask them to also, and we push them to also complete the survey so that we can get the full picture, because their feedback is also very important in the discussion. Pain points. We listed some things and we said, give us your pain points. What are the things that really hinder you in moving forward? A very obvious one, lack of resources. We are busy. It's one of the many things to do. That's one of the things that was brought up. And actually, if you can see it, by 55% of the federations said that is my key pain point. Another pain point that I want to highlight, which was brought up by almost 30%, is lack of knowledge. They said we just don't know how to do it. And we digged a little bit deeper into that, saying, how would you like to be educated? Because others told us there are so many tools we don't even know where to start. We asked them, and that's feedback also we would like to give to you as an audience, is the preferred methods of education were clearly online tools, documents, online resources and guides that are full of best practices, and workshops. Those were the two things that came out of the survey as the most important tools to address this issue of lack of knowledge. Flipping the question, saying, so what are the things that really help you push the car, help you making progress? And again, I think it was in the governance session exactly the same yesterday, where we more or less came to conclusions of we need best practices and we need partnerships. But it was clear here as well. I just brought one example of ski mountaineering, which did a good job as a relatively small federation with limited resources. Most importantly, they documented it. Most of the time when we're done with an event, we run into the next event, but they took the time to document it, and now it's a valuable resource for many other federations to say, okay, that actually describes from A to Z for a not so big federation how to go through the entire process. And then partnerships, you probably hear from rowing, but they for me are a good example with their rowing program, with their clean water program, which is partnering with BMW and WWF. But also an example that I see Tom Dillon here in front, where they, for their events, they collaborate or they discuss with their suppliers and the event organizers how they can reuse competition and branding material. And when we had a brief exchange about that, asked, so what are the savings that you make through that? And it was an estimated saving of $75,000. That was a rough estimate, but so to say that through partnerships, you can find shared objectives and you can clearly find benefits of sustainability. So that was in a nutshell what I would like to share with you from the study, which I think for me comes down to the positive side, that we need to document our examples, our best practices, and we need to acknowledge the different objectives of the different stakeholders involved in the event. A sponsor, an athlete, a city, and a federation have a different objective for an event. If you find each other and you see, okay, where do we touch on sustainability and we move on from there, I think then you can see, and that's what I see happening in federations, how sustainability can start adding value to the success of your event rather than being one of these things that costs money. So That's in a very summary. I have 6 seconds left. The Federation Sustainability Stand. Again, if you want to have the report, it's downloadable from this website. And I thank you for your attention.